Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Basketball, Body, and Mind. In today's episode, we are going to talk about long-term athletes' development, about growth spurts, about talent, like why sometimes it seems like somebody is super talented and then maybe at age 16, 17, 18, they disappear. I'll give you science and also my personal experience why, but also the other coaches' experiences why it can be happening. So also sometimes if you look at the player at that one age, you see like he's super talented and next year like he's barely making, like struggling to catch the ball. Maybe he is less coordinated. So this episode, I believe, will give you clarity why this, or some of the reasons with explanations why this could be happening. So in part one, we are going to talk about the problems and the problems that I see. Okay, I say I, but it's not only me who is seeing this problem. But the problem is that if somebody is young and they are performing really well on basketball court, I mean, it can be also other sports, but if we are talking about the basketball, so they are performing well on the basketball court, and we assume that that person will have huge success in future. And science says that it's definitely not the case. It's definitely not the case. Like maybe 30% of success will lead, those people will lead to the long-term success. But the problem is that in early performance, usually the result will come from early physical maturity, early puberty, and the person is dominating not by the skill of playing basketball. The person is dominating by the maturity because he is early, hitting puberty early, and that is a problem that will show up later. Also, with that, some people will be super confident, and those who are dominating everyone else, they will be super confident and they will think that it's going to be like this always. And others who might be even better basketball players, they might have doubts in themselves because they are hitting puberty later. And they are not aware of that. And they might be saying, oh, maybe I'm not that good. Look at him. He's dominating. And I'm like just, I don't know, standing in the corner and so on. But you don't know your ceilings. But we will talk about this problem also. If somebody is going through growth spurts, and as I said, like 1 year, somebody is very good and coordinated. And next year, they aren't that good. And they're struggling to catch the basketball. They're not regressing. And if you are that person, you are not regressing. If your shooting accuracy goes down, if you cannot catch the ball and everything seems like slower and it's much more difficult, you're not regressing. This is normal. You are just adapting. Give yourself time. So that is also a problem. Another problem that I see is that when you are growing, some people might say you should not lift weights. You should not do strength training. It will stunt your growth. We will not talk so much about growth, like that weight room would not allow you to maximize your chances of growing. Because we will talk about that later, but it will not stop you from growing. It only will help you if it's done smart. Of course, if you will put up a barbell on your back and you will be aiming to increase that number, like strength number up, and you will be adding more and more load, maybe it will affect your growth. Also, when we are talking about strength training, those people who are growing through growth spurts, you should not copy the programs of adults. You're not adult yet. There are certain things like coordination, movement control, stability that you need to develop, especially at those ages that you are growing the most. So don't copy. This is another problem, that you are copying adults program. And last, of course, but not least for basketball, is that speed, coordination, skill work, because you feel like I'm slower on the court, I'm not that well conditioned, I get tired. Everything will take more energy for you to do when your body is growing. So those things can be replaced with extra conditioning, but you are not out of shape. You're not. You cannot substitute the skill work and the time that you need to develop your body. You cannot substitute with the extra conditioning and say like, oh my God, I'm doing more conditioning and I don't feel better. Maybe the issue is not conditioning. That's why you are not improving your conditioning. Like, you're good. Give yourself time. And now I'm thinking, okay, also one more problem that I often see at this age is that you already have your position. Who knows by the age of 14 or 15 which position you will be playing? Coach knows? Your parents know? We don't know. What if at age 16 you will grow significantly? What if at age 16 you will stop growing? Okay, that will change your position. That's why you need to develop all skills. So, in order for us to understand these things, I will talk about 5 different topics. And the first one is about biological versus chronological age. Then the second one is about the growth spurts that will kind of disrupt your performance, if you will. Like, it will get worse, like you will be maybe unmotivated, but that's normal. Then number 3 is about the skills that you would need to develop before hitting puberty. I mean, you can develop them later also. Then number 4 is strength work at that age, speed also, and lastly about psychological part before, during, and after. So let's start with the number 1, as I said, and it is the biological age versus chronological age. What does that mean? Your chronological age is what is written in your passport. So however years you have, that is your age. But biological age can be very different. Maybe you are maturing later. So your age, maybe you are 12 years old, but you are maturing, let's say, early. So maybe biological age, it will say that you are 14, but on the passport says it's 12. Or maybe you are 14 on passport, but you're not hitting the puberty yet. And that's why biological age maybe will be 13 or 12. So this is very big difference. Imagine playing against someone who's 2 years older, 3 years older, but on the passport they are the same age. And also it's important to know, to compare when you are born. So for coaches it's important to know. But if you are born in January and somebody else is born in December, you will be playing in the same age group. And on the passport, you are born the same year, but you're not the same age. Somebody will be, let's say, 15 years old, but somebody else will be 15 years old and 11 months. So that will be almost 16 years old. And imagine if that person is maturing earlier, the one who's older, who is born in January. So maybe by the biological age, that person will be 18 years old. And you're playing against them. Of course, your performance will be different, because those who are early maturing, they will look more talented, as I said. But they will be dominating not by skill. They will be dominating by muscle size, by strength, by height, by size in the like width. Maybe they're like very big. And that's how they will be dominating, scoring 40, 50 points. But it's not basketball skills. It's just because they are older. Either like on a passport older, 11 months, or maybe they are in biological age older. And this is important for, especially for those who are hitting puberty later, because you will need to fight against the odds. Those who are quote unquote talented, meaning like early, physically early developing, coaches will give more attention to them. Maybe they will be invited to the national teams because they are very good and talented, and they will be getting more attention. And they might attract some agents. But what really will stand out in the long term is the work ethics. So you will need to again and again prove yourself, fight against the odds, develop the work ethics, and you will catch up by the age of maybe 17, 18, 19. It doesn't matter when you will catch up, but you will catch up. And since you will have been working hard for so long, the momentum that you will have will be so much, let's say, faster, that the other person, that the talented one, will see that, oh my God, he's as good as I am. I need to, like, I don't know, raise my game. But you will have that momentum, you will surpass, and you will go further. And the other person will not even be able to catch you. Okay, so that's why it is very important for you to develop your routines, to develop your work ethics, at the same time enjoy playing basketball, and this will increase your chances. Not that you are super talented and, I don't know, scoring 30 points at age 15. That will not, maybe a tiny bit increase your chances, but developing the work ethics, doing the right things in the weight room, on the court, focusing on the right things, on the things that you can control, that will increase your chances of maximizing that potential of getting that pro contract, of maybe going to the USA, and or maybe you are from USA, so maybe then going overseas. So those things will lead, but not the early performance. Number 2 is growth spurts, and that will lead to performance decrease. That will lower your shooting percentage. Maybe, as I said previously, you will not be able to catch the ball. Maybe you will forget how to run a little bit, and you will feel and look awkward when you are running. Maybe jumping will be so much harder for you, and like coordination, kicking the ball, throwing the ball, everything. But that's fine. This is expected. And this is not that you are lazy. People might look at you and like, what happened to you? Like, you were so good last year. And like now, like, did you, like, is it because you are playing, I don't know, Fortnite? Is it because you are playing Counter-Strike? Is it because you are not studying well enough? Like, people will connect weird things to your performance decreasement, but those things have nothing in common with that. So limbs will grow faster. That's why for you it will be much more difficult to do those things. So imagine, so if you are driving a car, you will understand this example, but later I'll give to the younger ones who are not driving the car the example to understand better. So if you are driving a car, you're used to your type of car. One morning, you wake up, and instead of your regular car, you are driving a big truck. How do you think parking for you will go? How do you think driving all around these cars in the city and taking the turns, doing everything what is so easy for you to do, like every day, how do you think that day will go for you? Yes, it will be very difficult. You will not like feel those edges of the car. You will not know where the car is kind of in the space. Like you will not feel that car. So for those who are not driving, you can think of, let's say, keyboard. So one day you wake up and all letters and numbers are in the same place, but maybe all those buttons are a little bit bigger. You already have in your mind where all those letters and buttons are, so you sometimes can even like feel where you are clicking without even looking at the screen. But if, even though they are in the same place, but the keyboard is bigger, you will not, like, you will need to do everything slower. You will need to readjust and learn again. So this is exactly what happens to you. Your limbs are growing, and one time, let's say you are catching ball in front of you like 20 centimeters away, and then next morning you wake up, it's like 21, but your body is learned at 20. So that's why for you everything will be much more difficult. Your releasing point of the shot was at one point, and now it's at another one. Like you used to run this type, but now you have to learn the other type because your limbs are different. Maybe muscles got a little bit weaker because they are growing. Like, I don't know what, but this is not regression. This is the adaptation. You need to go through this, phase, let's say, because there is like the other side. When you, at the same time, you will be trading, you will be doing all of these things that I'm saying in this example, and you will get better. But at the moment, your performance maybe will go a little bit down, and that is normal, that is temporal, and that is expected. Okay? Another thing for everyone to pay attention is that your body will be changing at that age, or is changing at that age. So you might need to decrease a little bit of the load, or maybe give yourself a little bit more of the rest, maybe 1 or even 2 days off when you are growing super fast would be beneficial for you to maximize your growth spurt. Of course, nutrition and sleep will play a huge role into this, but also resting, because that's when your body gets stronger and bigger. So you might need to give a little bit more rest. And for coaches, sometimes we tend to think that if the kids are not sore or not tired, we're not working hard enough. So keep in mind this, that if like you did very hard training session and the next day kids come and they are like not tired, everything is okay with them, it doesn't mean that the training session was not hard. It was hard, but their system, like because of the hormonal system that is changing, is so they are so well, they can adapt to the training session so well that no matter how much load, okay, there is matter, but no matter how big the load will be, they will be recovering from. So we don't need to train them harder. We don't want to maximize their chances of becoming a pro basketball player at age 15. They want to be at their peak form maybe at age 25 in 10 years. So are we doing the best at age 15 so they will succeed at age 25? So ask yourself, you might, as I said, you might need to reduce the volume a little bit of the training, add 1-2 days of rest, emphasize technique, and then in those times when you are growing a lot in the weight room, you will be doing more of the variation rather than trying to improve your strength numbers. So for example, we're taking a squat. So if you are doing a squat, maybe one set you will go just a regular goblet squat with holding the dumbbell in front of you next to the sternum. And then maybe next set you will be holding one dumbbell by your side. Maybe next set you will do dowel overhead squats. Maybe next set you will be standing a little bit in the offset position, like in a split stance, not so like a big stance, but a little split stance, like kickstands squats. Maybe other time you will be doing wall squats, or maybe the other time you will be dribbling at the same time while doing a squat. So this is how your body will learn those edges of the keyboard, those edges of the car. So because you will do variation, your body will learn where the body is in the space. So that is advice for everyone who is growing through that growth spurt and is growing a lot in height. So that would be advices. So now let's go to the number 3, and it is motor skills or like a movements that we need to develop. So I'm talking about like skill of running, jumping, landing, stopping, changing direction, even like movement patterns has like lunge, squat, hinge, like leaning forward, all of those. And they need to be developed early so that your body knows how to do that. Once your body will learn that at a younger age, during the puberty or after the puberty, it will be much more easier for you to connect the dots and do those exercises, those movements correctly, because you have learned them previously. Of course, you might struggle a little bit, but you will know what it means to do that correctly. Or maybe at the beginning, you can watch yourself in the mirror and you will see whether you are doing it correctly or not during the puberty. Maybe the coach can watch you and tell you what you need to change. But if you will learn these early, that's why for the kids, we always recommend to have that movement variety and learn the movement patterns before adding speed, before adding strength to that. So if you will develop that early, it will be much easier for you to work on that later. Of course, those correct, let's call it, or more optimal movements will lead to the lower risk of injury. But even if you will skip those movement patterns, of course you can learn them later. It's fine. Maybe it will take a little bit longer, but you still can develop them. So it is fine. And it comes down to I don't know if you have heard window of trainability. So meaning that at certain age, you need to work on the certain like a motor skill, such as like at age 6 you need to work on flexibility, at age 10 you have to work on coordination, at age 15 you have to work on strength, and at age 18 you have to work on conditioning, for example. This is not exactly how it says, but this is just guidelines. If you missed something, it's okay. You can develop that later. Maybe it will take a little bit longer time. It will be a little bit more difficult, but you still can improve those things. Okay, so do not think that those they are only recommendations. They are not some kind of like a guidelines that you missed, and it's not. But one thing that you cannot expect to improve at younger age is speed. And now let's talk about strength and about speed. So as I said previously, and I want to repeat myself again and again and again, that strength training is safe. Think about this. You are playing basketball and you are doing a layup and you're landing on one leg. So on that landing, your foot will hit the ground with 4 to 8 times your body weight. So if your weight is 50 kilos and you hit the ground on single leg, so you can hit the ground with anywhere from 2 to 400 kilograms. fours. So for those Americans listening, your body weight is what that would be 120 pounds, and you are hitting the ground with what would be like, I need to multiply now by 4, so that would be 480 or even like 1000 newtons. Okay, so why are we worried if you will take 10 kilograms, like 25 pounds? Why do we worry? Like on the basketball court, the forces are like 20 times more than that. So if you are doing those jumps and you will take that 10 kilogram dumbbell, it will stop you from growing? Yes, that sounds ridiculous. So that is not true. So before puberty, if you are making gains, let's say in the strength, if you are making gains in coordination, so that is mostly, not only, but that will be mostly neurological. And after puberty, those gains, if you're making like increasing muscle size and you're increasing the strength numbers, then it will be more of the hormonal. So of course it will be neural also, but it will be also much more hormonal because you are after puberty. That's why when you are even if you are not lifting, you will get stronger because those changes are happening. Because that's why also increasing muscle mass for someone who is 16 will be much easier than to someone who is age 13. And that should not be a priority for someone who is 13 years old to get like size. No. And strength training will reduce risk of injury because you will make your bones stronger. You will make your tendons, muscles, and ligaments stronger with proper weight room regime, plus progressively increasing either the weights, you can increase the repetitions, you can increase the speed, depending on all of those things. And since I mentioned speed, it is a little bit of genetics. Speed can also be trained. So what I mean by genetics is that you have certain speed of your nervous system functioning. So there are certain speed that your brain communicates to the muscles and your muscles communicate to the brain. In some way, that can be improved, and it can be improved through repetitions, through movement pattern recognition. What do I mean? If you are where I'm not talking now as you understand, I'm not talking about the speed of like linear sprint. Now I'm talking, let's say, speed in defense, that you have that first step. First step can be developed through strength training, but it can be developed without also any strength training. Or maybe strength training would be your basketball court, playing on a basketball court. So what I mean by that, like I went a little bit on a tangent, but what I mean is if you are playing defense a lot, you play defense 1 day, 2 days, 7 days, 1 year, your body subconsciously or automatically will start paying attention to some cues of the person who is on the offense to his body. And the person standing on the offense will make certain move. Your body will recognize that and already maybe will turn to the right or to the left, whatever the opponent is going to do. So your body will recognize that movement pattern that the person does when he goes to the right. So your body will adapt to that. So this is also how you can improve your speed. However, in order to be faster on the court, as I said to you previously, before puberty, it's mostly nervous system. And after puberty is much more muscles that are involved. After puberty, of course, is both. And in both cases, both. But if you are young before puberty, do not expect to be very fast unless your nervous system is working well and it's fast. So when a 13 years old let's say a player is 13 years old and a parent asks, like, my kid is very slow on the court, what could I do? My response is, give them time. They need to grow up. Their muscle fibers, fast muscle fibers, are not developed yet. Give them a time to go through puberty. Of course, continue training, nothing too crazy, but give them time. And after puberty, in order to improve speed, now I'm talking about the first step, you might need to do a little bit more besides the skill work of defense or whatever you want to work on, like acceleration or in general, like linear speed. You want to hit the weight room also and increase your strength, because that will lead you to the faster first step. I have talked about which exercises translate more to the first step, to the vertical jump, so please look that up or look in the description below and you will see the link. So by someone who is, so how to improve speed, someone who is younger, maybe trained a little bit more of basketball, go through the nervous system, through pattern recognition, but those who are 16 years old, they will improve more by training that specifically, either weight room exercises and court exercises. And now to the last part, but it's definitely not the least, is the psychological development of you in a long term. What do I mean by that? That you will have your ups and downs. If let's say you are starting playing basketball at age 5 and you are now 15, in those 10 years, or maybe even 18 or 20, because that's later when the injuries start, you will have ups and downs. You will have when you are super motivated and when you are not motivated at all to play. Things will not go as you wish. You will not be picked to the national team. Maybe you will not be picked to the team A or team B. Maybe you will not score that many points and you will be like, am I even good enough? Or maybe you are performing really well and you are in the national team and you are a star player. But that early pressure can lead to a burnout. And you might even stop playing basketball because just of not being able to deal with that pressure. But what you all, no matter level, no matter age, need to focus on development. Pick area or areas that you want to get better and work on that. If you're not satisfied by something, strength, skill, vertical jump, 3-pointers, pick that area and start improving. Even a small increase, meaning like you want to shoot better 3-pointers. Even if you just shot 50 times that day, you will feel better. I promise you, even a little step forward will make your day better on something that you want to improve. So focus on development. Pick areas that you're lacking most and improve that. Do not let yourself into this comparison trap. Like comparison of how many points you got, how many rebounds you got, assists, who is going to which team, he signed the deal, he is going to USA. Do not fall into that. It doesn't help you at all. Focus on development. To summarize into 3 things. First, development is not linear. It's not. Sometimes you will feel good. Like after, maybe you go to arena to watch a basketball game and you're super motivated. You work out till 3 a.m. and run and lift and do everything. That will not build you. That one workout will not build you. It will look good on Instagram or TikTok, wherever you will post that, but it will not build you. Okay? It's not linear. The other day we will be down, but focus on development. Second thing is, when you are growing, your performance will change. And usually it will change in a negative way, unless you are the first one to hitting that growth spurt. So maybe that will change in a positive way because you will be the tallest or the strongest. So that might be positive, but performance will most likely go down, and that is normal. That is expected. Do things, as I said, do variety of variation of the exercises, variety of trainings. Like learn how to use that bigger keyboard, learn how to use that bigger car. Just expose yourself to more movement patterns and you will be fine. Give yourself time. 1-2 years, you'll be fine. And lastly, that results will come from patience, not pressure. Do not press yourself too much. Play basketball with fun and give yourself time. So I hope this was helpful. If you found it helpful and you would like to have a summary of this one pager of what to do, what do not to do, common mistakes, so you can check description and find this one pager summary of the things. Also share this episode with a teammate or a friend. This is the best way to support us. But for now, keep training basketball, body, and mind.